If we look at the team, which is also, I see, a true important factor for the success, and that's probably one of the, we know from the Sting operation that the most common reason why a company fails is the team is breaking apart, which is very unfortunate, but that's the main reason. Anders, when you look at the team, the competence and quality of that team, you also say that it's important that you share sort of the vision and common understanding. How do you ensure that this is really put in place?
Normally, I think the whole investment process is not a day or a week. It's over several weeks or several months rather. And you normally have so much contact with the management team in the company that you normally get a feel for if this vision, mission is shared within the management team or not. So I think that just being there and doing this due diligence work, talking to people, gives a very good idea. Not absolute all details, but you get a pretty good feeling of is this a shared feeling among the management team of the company, or is it just one man's or a woman's mission?
But how long would the process be? You say that you get to know each other. Is this 6 months or is it more?
I mean, normally it depends on, once again, what's this all about. But normally it's very seldom below 2-3 months at least. But that's a pretty normal period. And but it's a lot of interaction in that period. And then as we also tend to do staged financing with milestones, you feel down the road how things are doing. And we normally, if you have an entrepreneur that is very strong and really the driver, and you have the slightest doubt that he will do it all the way, you make sure that you have openly discussed that if and when we would raise the issue that we would have another CEO, this is a possibility. We are in agreement also what kind of role and etc. So you have talked through the issue. Still a different matter when the days come, but at least you have talked through and you have discussed it.
Yeah.
Perhaps written also in papers.
Yes, yes. Okay. Building the team is obviously very difficult.
Very important.
If you start with one person, then even the next one is 100% more in the team. And there is a definition of this panel is really going from seed to star and what does it take. But then we have to understand what do we mean with the star. And I thought, Lassie, maybe you can give us some feeling how you define what is really a star. What are the elements that you want to accomplish and how do you measure it? Can you measure it?
You said earlier that whether the shareholder value is a yardstick for stardom, and I think to a degree it is. If you create a shareholder value, it doesn't mean that the company itself is a sustainable organization. But on the other hand, it doesn't mean that it wouldn't be. And if I take an example from our case in the megawatt class wind turbines, 10 years ago when we started, it looked fairly doable to create a wind turbine company that would be independent from the large firms and operate globally. But what happened during the 10 years was that the industry consolidated. Well, first of all, it didn't consolidate, but what happened that instead of the technology-driven private investors, the customer base shifted to energy companies. And that led the biggest energy technology providers acquiring wind turbine companies because they wanted to supply, the people who supplied the hydro turbines wanted to supply the wind turbines. So the industry evolved, and 10 years later, it looks like it's going to be the largest companies of the world, the GE, Siemens, Mitsubishi, some Korean, maybe some French player, supplying wind turbines. And it no longer looks as compelling idea to create an independent wind turbine company with all the fully fledged operations around the world. But if you can, build a clever technology, create shareholder value, I think the market will take care of creating a sustainable structure for that. So I don't see shareholder value and and whether the company as a standalone unit is sustainable, really mutually exclusive. But I think
it could be a combination of
it
both,
could be a
of course.
combination,
Yes.
and market is, for all of its shortcomings, it's a very good, best tool to pick up the winners,
Yeah.
and then arrange the bits and pieces to a clever order.
That is true. That is true. Yeah, if you build shareholders' value only, if that's your target, that could be very short-sighted.
Yeah, and
Whereas
I
the
don't
opposite would,
I don't really know how that would be possible to create just shareholder value, and there has to be an idea behind that, and the marketplace has to buy into that idea.
Yeah, true. Well, we see also related to team that the innovator is not necessarily the entrepreneur, so we have to team up. And when we team up, it's a matter of splitting something. And I was curious about you, Mike. How do you sort of compensate, and what is your idea of how you put innovators and entrepreneurs together, and how do you evaluate that?
You know, I think that's a key part of the team building process. It happens early on, and I think a lot of times that's a difficult part of, you know, working with an early entrepreneur. Maybe they've been working for something for 6 months, they own 100% of the company. It's hard to convince them that the long road is ahead. You know, they may have 5-10 years of work before this is a really successful company, and someone that joins them 6 months into it, I mean, is probably more of an equal partner than someone who's a 5% partner.
Yeah.
But a lot of times the entrepreneur doesn't see it that way. I think a lot of times sort of our role as outsiders is to try to sort of, you know, help lubricate that process and make it go smoothly, and also help try to find some of the right team members to you know, add to what's already there.
Yeah, I think you can be the catalysator to make it happen, but not the dictator to make it happen.
Ultimately, the entrepreneur has to decide for themselves.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm just about to conclude, but I obviously want to give you very active people in the audience a chance to ask questions. Are there any more questions? And you can ask any question now. Not even that. We probably have answered all your questions. That's fantastic. I want to conclude. I obviously thank you all for a very interesting discussion. I would like to have one word or one sentence each from you. The task was to uncover from seed to star, what does it take? So what is the most important part in one sentence from each one of you, considering your background and the discussion we've had? And I'll start over there. Anders.
Okay. I think that really to find a business model that works, so you work that through very early on.
The business model itself. Yeah.
Define a business model.
Yeah.
I think it's sort of, you know, sort of personality trait an entrepreneur needs is sort of a combination of optimism and stubbornness.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would say then that if you have those two, then to build a team and make everyone, both entrepreneur and investors, to work and have exactly the same goal, and to see to that.
Share the goal.
Yeah.
And Paul?
Perhaps I'm a little bit old-fashioned, I don't know, but
Well,
I
we
think-
had to have some of
I
them
think
here.
I still believe that with hard work, dedication, passion, and drive, that you can have, that you can create your own success. Of course, it will be with ups and downs, but this is part of a success.
Thank you. And Lassie?
I think the trickiest thing is to get deals closed, and closing the deal is a combination of science and art. And I think in the presentations today, and with the engineers doing them, you see more of the science bit, and I think that can be the qualifier. But then the real order winner is the art in pitching and closing deals.
Yes, that was very wise. So I thank you for a interesting discussion. After this is now over, and thank you very much. We will also offer you the same type of gift. You'll all get your own little tree from V Skogen. Thank you very much
Thank
for
you.
participating.
Thank you, Magnus.
Tack så mycket.
Thank you. Tack Minna.
This is,
This has been planted.
Thank you.
it has been planted.
Thank you. Mike?
Får hänga det på väggen?
Förlåt?
Får hänga det på väggen så du
Ja,
ser
ja, just det.
Tack så jag fick två där.
Ja, det är bra. Later on, the last piece of advice we got was combination of science and art. And the dinner for those of you who participate will be at National Museum, which is one of the art museums in Stockholm. So that rounds it up. Now it's mingling time outside, and then there will be transports. Thank you very much.